A second emergency special session, no budget cuts means job cuts, and see how the city of Norman relies on game days. This is OU Nightly. It's just a few weeks after the close of an emergency special session in the Capitol, but Governor Mary Fallin is calling everyone back. Welcome to OU Nightly. I'm Shay Smith.
And I'm Colin Kennedy. Now, with 2 months of wasted time in the Capitol and a $215 million budget hole still unfilled, lawmakers will reconvene on December 18th to try again.
This announcement by Fallin comes just a month after lawmakers passed Budget Bill 1019 in the last special election session. That bill would have used huge portion of the state's rainy day and emergency funds to fill the budget hole.
It also would have left the state in a $600 million shortfall this time next year, and all that was left for Fallin to sign the dotted line. But Fallin used her veto power to stop 165 out of 170 parts of that bill, saying the bill doesn't provide a long-term solution to the budget deficits.
But this time around, Fallin is challenging lawmakers to find sustainable recurring revenue to fix the crisis and prevent cutting core state services.
Today, the Department of Health has announced it is laying off 37 employees. Last month, the Department of Health requested a $30 million emergency cash infusion from the state, but the infusion was never delivered. Department of Health spokesperson Tony Sellers warned that without the money, the department wouldn't be able to afford December payroll. OSDH says 198 employees will lose their jobs by March of next year. The department is currently under investigation for mismanagement of $30 million, and the first committee meeting for that investigation is Monday.
And with all the confusion surrounding the budget shortfall, Oklahoma House Speaker Charles McCall is blaming Mary Fallin. McCall said Fallin promised lawmakers she would sign a bill during the first special session, but she broke her promise when she vetoed most of the budget bill 1019 last month.
Thanks to Governor Mary Fallin's veto of most of House Bill 1019, Oklahoma's mental health care services are still operating normally. OU Nightly's Amina Schweitzer updates us on the status of services that can still be affected as the budget fight drags on.
Thank you for calling the Virtue Center, formerly NAIC. How can I help you?
Oklahoma's mental health services are in jeopardy. Outpatient clinics like Norman's Virtue Center will be dramatically affected by the massive cuts planned for the Oklahoma Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services budget.
We are one of many outpatient treatment centers that would be affected. And overall, the state, through these centers, provides services to almost 200,000 people.
Governor Fallin's veto gives these service providers a little more time to operate before hard decisions must be made.
Depending on what those cuts look like, we'd have to cut the number of people that we serve or not give them all the services that they need.
While no decisions have been made concerning which services and centers might face cutbacks, the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services expects devastating results if patients cannot receive care.
We know that these services are life-saving services, and people will die. I'm not trying to be overdramatic. People will die if they're unable to access the services that they need to stay well, working in the community, keeping their families together.
Without crucial outpatient services like therapy, mental health patients could end up here in the emergency room. The loss of funding and loss of services will put stress on ERs, hospitals, and first responders in Norman.
The financial toll is going to be worse than what the budget crisis is. And then if you look at the emotional toll of loss of lives, families disrupted, all of that, it's just not worth it.
Governor Fallin is expected to call another special session soon, and it will be up to the elected officials if Oklahoma's mental health services are to survive in their present form. Amina Schweitzer, OU Nightly.
Norman's mental health services should be able to operate as normal through the spring.
In the Oklahoma County District Attorney's Office announced today, officers involved in a deaf man's death will not face charges. Magdiel Sanchez was shot in September by 2 Oklahoma City officers responding to a hit-and-run accident. DA David Prater said the officers were acting in self-defense and were not using excessive force.
The number of homeless people in Oklahoma increases for the second year in a row. A report found nearly 4,200 homeless people on a single night in January. known as the Annual Homeless Assessment Report. It also found a 24% increase in homeless families with children.
All right, Colin, it's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas.
Yeah, this morning was one of the more colder mornings we've had in Oklahoma. Isn't that right, Jordan?
That's right. This morning was actually the coldest morning we've had in Norman since all the way back in January. In fact, January 7th, we were at -2 degrees Fahrenheit. This morning we were at 16. So, the coldest it's been in a long time. And that's what we've been seeing. We recovered nicely, though. One of the big stories in weather right now is all the way on the western coast. In California, they're still dealing with wildfires. This red is where the fires are currently burning. All this is the smoke. And I have the smoke here. You can see here, this smoke plume touches out almost 300 miles out into the ocean. Now, Harley Toothman joins us now in News Center with more details on these fires. Harley?
Wildfires have torn through Southern California for a 5th day in a row, with new blazes causing more evacuations. According to California officials, 6 large wildfires have destroyed 160,000 acres across the state. At least 5,700 firefighters are attempting to contain the flames, and 200,000 people have already evacuated their homes. A 21-year-old gunman disguised himself as a student to get into a New Mexico high school. A former Aztec student, William Atchison, killed 2 students after legally purchasing a handgun a month ago. A thumb drive found on his body detailed his plan to wait until students got off the buses to attack. After killing the students he came in contact with, Atchison killed himself. Atchison caught the attention of U.S. investigators a year ago for shooting threats. Former White House Deputy Chief of Staff Kirstjen Nielsen was sworn in as the next Secretary of Homeland Security, filling the vacancy created when President Donald Trump selected retired John Kelly to be his Chief of Staff. In addition to his new hire, Trump assured that the wall is among several future projects.
It's not just walls, it's lots of people fly in and they come in through other means, but I have absolutely no doubt you are going to be so outstanding, and I'd like to congratulate you, and I wanted to be here for the big moment.
Arizona Representative Trent Franks is resigning today after being linked to an investigation where he asked 2 female employees to bear his child as a surrogate.
Thank you, Harley. Still ahead on OU Nightly, flu season starts to ramp up in Oklahoma.
And an OU football game day is more than just a sporting event. Stay with us.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Will Cornelius with your Health Beat. The American Heart Association released new guidelines that lower the threshold for high blood pressure. The previous reading of 140/90 has been lowered to 130/80, meaning nearly half of all Americans now suffer from high blood pressure. The new guidelines also emphasize multiple readings to better gauge a patient's blood pressure. Doctors say while taking medicine or dieting may help lower your blood pressure, the best fix for hypertension is exercise. Just 15 to 20 minutes of aerobic exercise a day can lead to a 5 to 8 point drop in your blood pressure. Flu season came early for one former Sooner. Tyler Self was diagnosed with the flu back in August and says pharmacies were not ready for flu season when he got it.
It was said I was the first person in Oklahoma that had a confirmed case, and I was so early that the 3 CVS's in Norman had not even been stocked for flu commercial or anything like that yet, so I had to wait for them to ship it in.
Self says he would have gotten the flu shot this year, but got the flu before they were available in Oklahoma. And speaking of flu season, Oklahoma experienced its first 2 flu-related deaths this past week. Both victims were over the age of 65, putting them at higher risk for flu-related complications. There were 24 new flu-related hospitalizations in Oklahoma this week, bringing the total number to 135 statewide. And seniors are still lighting up late into life. According to America's Health Rankings 2017 senior report, Kentucky leads the nation in adults 65 and over who smoke, followed by Oklahoma and Nevada. The states with the least senior smokers are Utah, California, and Hawaii. And Colin and Shay, I don't know if you all saw this, but a new study actually found that sitting too much can actually be really bad for your health. So think you all might need to get up out of the chairs, start doing the show standing up a bit, you know?
Man, does this mean I have to start stretching before newscasts?
I
don't know if
already
I'm for that.
stretch.
Looks like
You
you're gonna
all
have
Okay,
to
Shay, we get it. You're an
slacking.
overachiever.
do a little yoga, you know,
Props.
Pilates. It's good for you.
Thank
All right.
you, Will.
Well, thanks, Will.
College football means quite a bit for Oklahoma fans, but it also means a lot to the city of Norman. OU Nightly's Carson Williams takes a deeper dive into the economic impact game days have in the city.
6 Saturdays a year, that's what Norman looks like for roughly 3.5 hours. Prior to that, the city takes advantage of the masses making their way to see one of college football's best teams. With over 85,000 people attending each home game and even more sticking around at the restaurants and tailgates on campus, Norman welcomes thousands of visitors on game days.
Obviously, the occupancy rate for a North Texas game versus an Ohio State game are going to vary wildly. Also, there's so much difference between an 11 a.m. kickoff and a 2:30 kickoff and a 7 p.m. kickoff. Then, of course, the weather factors.
According to Visit Norman, the city generates over $8 million per home game in total business sales. An average of 5,000 hotel room reservations make nearly $1 million in revenue. Norman makes over $300,000 in local taxes, and in total, nearly 7,000 jobs are supported by game day traffic. One of the biggest profit generators comes in retail at over $1.5 million per game, but food and beverage only slightly trails that, averaging just under $1.5 million. Places like 747 on Campus Corner are a hotspot to fans who flock to Norman.
You know, our average on our busiest times during those days are about $1,500 per 15 minutes, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Whether they're buying food, a t-shirt for the game, or a hotel for the night, the city has a use for all the cash inflow.
Eventually, streets, schools, law enforcement. So the economic impact of a Sooner football game is going to have far-reaching impact for every citizen.
Game days in Norman have evolved drastically since they began playing in 1895. But as the program continues to excel, so does the city. Carson Williams, OU Nightly.
Next season, Oklahoma has 7 home games, one more than usual, giving them an opportunity to make even more money.
Still head on OU Nightly. Get ready for some deep-fried Christmas cheer.
And Jordan, it has been cold, but I've heard it should be warming up.
That's right. It's been cold right now, but warm weather is on the way. I'll let you know when after the break. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Jordan Overshow. Look at your weather. So say it ain't snow. Here we go. Tiger out here enjoying the snow. You might think, well, that seems pretty normal. Well, this is in Louisiana. This is actually Louisiana State University. This is our mascot. They're the Tigers. He's enjoying some snow there. We have another video. We're going to go to the west. This is in Houston. Here they are. See you enjoying a snowfall fight? There's a snow all around. An unusual snow for that area. And we'll check this out here. So we can go satellite and radar. We can actually play this out. So this is yesterday's past 24 hours. Here's all this rain. Now watch what happens as we go throughout the next 24 hours. There you go. Snow. And you might think, well, geez, that's a lot of snow. What's going on there? What happens is bitter cold air comes down from the north. You get all this Gulf moisture coming back to the north, and then that causes you to have snow. And so we had a report of 7 inches of snow in Corpus Christi, Texas. Lots of snow. No snow for Norman, though, but it has been cold. That's going to be continuing as we look at the big picture. So here we are. This is the cold air. Notice how it just kind of hangs out. The reason for that is because our high pressure causes air to go around the high pressure, which continues to bring us in cold shots. And that's what we're going to continue to see as we go into next week. Now, for the weekend, we're going to warm up. But right now in the CAS cam, clear skies. We can see temperatures at 42 degrees and the sun's shining. We got 28 degrees in Norman right now. That's going to be temperatures for night. Another cold night. It will be warmer than this morning, though. Again, we reached 16 degrees this morning, so it will be warmer, but still cold. So you get 28. Tomorrow we'll warm up some, but not a lot. Only topping off at 49 degrees by 4 o'clock with just a few clouds in the sky. Northwest winds around 5 to 10 miles an hour. For your highs across the state tomorrow, we are going to see temperatures in the 40s. Here we go. 49 degrees in Norman, 49 degrees in Oklahoma City, 52 degrees in Lawton. So we do have the warm up that comes for Sunday. So for tomorrow, again, 49 degrees. When we get to Sunday, big time warm up, getting to 64 degrees. Much warmer and a few more clouds for Sunday. And then we stay that way for Monday. We get up to 61 degrees. When I talked about how we get those cold shots of air, There's the first one. There's the one on Tuesday. We'll up slightly after that for Wednesday. Then let's get to Thursday. Another cold shot comes through, dropping us to 50 degrees, but then we'll kind of moderate back out to 59 degrees and 60s. So just kind of back and forth with cold shot after cold shot.
Well, I'm actually liking the cold now. I'm enjoying it.
There you go.
Really, Shay? Well, I don't know. I can't do this cold weather, but 49 to 64, that's one heck of a jump.
Yeah,
That's
really
pretty big
is.
jump. Pretty big
But
jump.
we live in Oklahoma. That's why.
what
That's
you
true.
get.
You never know what the weather's going to be like.
Thank you, Jordan.
Well, Kyle, some Sooners are taking home some serious hardware, aren't they?
That's right, Colin. Sooners are hoping to shine from coast to coast. And while Baker is in NYC, the basketball team is in LA looking to take care of the Trojans. Sports is straight ahead. Welcome back to OU Nightly Sports. Last night, Baker Mayfield made a pit stop on the way to New York City to pick up some hardware. Baker wasn't the only Sooner to snag a trophy. Connor McGinnis won Holder of the Year. But Baker was the star of the night, taking home 3 awards: the Davey O'Brien Award, the Maxwell Award, and the Walter Camp Player of the Year Award. And of course, the Heisman Trophy ceremony is tomorrow night, and Baker is one of 3 finalists, joining Bryce Love and last year's winner, Lamar Jackson. OU Nightly Sports' Carson Williams and Reagan Ledbetter landed at LaGuardia Airport a short time ago.
Thanks, guys. We just landed in the Big Apple, New York City, the city that never sleeps. Ahead of tomorrow's Heisman Trophy ceremony, Reagan, Baker Mayfield has a shot to join OU history as the 6th Oklahoma player to win the Heisman.
Yeah, and he's just the clear favorite right now.
Yeah,
Last year he had a career season. Well, this year he one-upped himself, did things he didn't even do last year, put up 41 touchdowns, a big year for him, playing in the semifinal in the Rose Bowl coming up. I mean, the guy had a crazy year. He'll become the first walk-on to ever win the award.
That's pretty impressive if you think about it. He will. He has the shot to join the likes in OU history of Billy Vessels and Steve Owens and Billy Sims and Sam Bradford, Jason White. All those guys have already won Heismans at Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield has a shot to do it tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's no question right now. Usually we come into these ceremonies thinking it's up in the air, but after we saw last night with him taking home the hardware at the College Football Awards, I think there's no question Baker Mayfield's winning the Heisman.
I think so too. That'll do it for us from New York City for now, but stick with OUNightly.com as we give you more information from this weekend as Baker Mayfield chases OU's 6th Heisman Trophy.
And on the other side of the court, Trae Young and the Sooners take on USC at the historic Staples Center. OU will play its 3rd neutral site game against the Trojans and will look to stay red hot on offense. This will be the first ranked test of the season and will be a big win for the resume come tournament time. Tip is tonight at 9:30 on ESPN2. And the Thunder's getaway in Mexico City took a sour turn, losing a close one 100-95 to the Brooklyn Nets. The Thunder struggled without Paul George's 20 points and 5 boards, but the real problem was the shooting, as the team shot below 40%. And Hoodie Melo was nowhere to be found, finishing the game just 5 of 20. They look to rebound against the Grizzlies tomorrow night in Memphis. And last night, the Falcons came from behind to beat division rival, the New Orleans Saints, 20-17. Matt Ryan struggled mightily, throwing 3 interceptions to a revitalized Saints secondary, but Drew Brees' interception late in the 4th to Deion Jones sealed it for the Falcons. A total of 10 Saints were injured during the game, and Drew Brees said the cause was 100% because of the quick turnaround for Thursday night games. And big baseball news today, the Angels successfully signed the Babe Ruth of Japan, Shohei Ohtani. The Angels hope the combination of 2-time MVP winner Mike Trout and the Japanese great Bambino can take the AL West by storm. Ohtani will be a rarity in the MLB, where he plans to be in the starting rotation and batting other nights. With the addition of Ohtani, the Angels hope they found their saving grace. And Giancarlo Stanton has narrowed his wish list down to just 4 teams. The Yankees, Cubs, Dodgers, and Astros are the teams Stanton would approve of, but the price for Stanton is a pretty penny and a big batch of star prospects. The reigning NL MVP will make any of those teams the World Series favorite in 2018. And last night, after the Lakers win, 2 social media giants met, and Joel Embiid may be in trouble now. Lonzo is struggling, LiAngelo is gone from UCLA, and Joel Embiid could be the next victim to the LeVar Ball effect. I'm sure this will play out on Twitter in no time. Guys, when is LeVar going to just take a step back and let his kids be successful?
I don't know. He's just like a failed reality show walking through life. It's just a real
He's
disappointment.
very in their business all the time, I feel like.
He always finds a way to surprise us all, but appreciate it, Kyle.
They all do. Thank you so much. And a chain restaurant is #1 in Christmas spirit.
I'm Lauren Linville at the Update Desk. The Environmental Protection Agency Inspector General is investigating EPA Administrator and former Oklahoma Attorney General Scott Pruitt on his possible misuse of taxpayer-funded travel and the purchase of a $25,000 soundproof booth. And the Oklahoma Turnpike Authority approves a 2.5% increase in tolls to help fund a turnpike project. That's all for now. Colin?
Thanks, Lauren. A Chick-fil-A in Tampa is making chicken and Christmas lights the perfect combination. Its parking lot is filled with lights and includes a cow carousel featuring the chain's mascot. The display opened last month and continues to shine as Christmas approaches. That's going all out for the winter season.
Okay, sounds like we got to make a trip to Tampa.
Absolutely, but while that winter season brings lights, it also brings troubles. Jordan, what do you got?
Yeah, that's right. So again, on this day in 2007, started what would be the most devastating ice storm in Oklahoma. About 1 million people lost power here in the state. We had 29 fatalities, and about 16 of those were due to auto accidents.
Man, that's sad. Well, thank you for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night live at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.